Hiya people, it's the 15th. It's happy birthday to Martin off Retro Restore. If anybody's interested in watching a guy and his family and watching him do all those things, repairing, he does everything. He restores things, he repairs things. You can see just family stuff. Fantastic. Martin, Retro Restore. Give him a like, give him a subscribe, give him a follow. He's really, really good. So, as I said, it's the 15th. Today's plan, I've just dropped off the stepson at school and I'm off back home now. And I'm hoping that an item that I've ordered off eBay, which is temperature display for my leisure batteries, will have arrived today. If that has arrived, I can look at fitting that, or we can just go through it, have a look what it looks like. So essentially, leisure batteries, when they're charging, if one of the first signs that something's going wrong is they get hot, and they give off an odour which is almost like rotten eggs. Really, really pungent odour. It smells like you've left some rubbish out in the van and it's gone rotten. Really stinks. So it's a sign that the batteries are getting too hot. That can be from overcharging, or it can be just from a faulty battery, or the battery's coming to the end of its life. So I've done some research, and anyone can jump in on the comments and tell me if I'm wrong or if I've got it wrong, but they start to smell at around sort of 35-40 degrees C. I mean, they shouldn't get anywhere near that heat, but if they do, that's when the smell comes. So I'm going to put some temperature gauges on my batteries, so when I'm lying in my bed and camping at night, I can have the display of both batteries displayed for me to see if they're getting too hot. That's when I'm hooked up, obviously, because they won't be charging unless I'm hooked up. So that's today's project. I hope that LED display comes, but if it doesn't, don't worry, we'll find something else to do, and we'll have a bit of a van tour, because you haven't actually seen the van yet. So I'll be back with you shortly once I get myself home. Bye for now. Okay folks, quick word on editing. So in my first video I said I won't be bothering with editing videos and all that start-stop nonsense. So already I'm learning. So it's very, very difficult to do a 10-15 minute video without having some amount of editing. So what I've decided to do, I've downloaded just an app from my phone, and I'm going to do sort of 3-4 minute segments and then link them all together. So I would recommend that. It's, as I said, it's very, very difficult because you just run out of things to say and things aren't going as smooth, and you're thinking about what you need to say and what you want to tell everyone and what information you're trying to get across. So if you do it in 3-4 minute segments, leave a pause at the end of every segment, so when you link them all together it's all one smooth video, and it's very simple. I can't remember the name of the app. Oh, I can. It's called Splice. It says it's free, but of course once you've downloaded it onto your phone, it's, I think it was $12.99 for 3 months, something like that. So I'm happy to do that. So there will be a certain amount of editing, and that's the way it's got to be, just because it's easy. So it's all learning. If anybody wants to leave any comments in the section about editing and how easy it is to do and what not to do, I'm more than happy to listen. I'm learning this game. It's great fun. So I'll see you back in the back of the van shortly. Hi guys, back again. So looking at the side of the van, got the side panel open, got the nice carpet there, the motorhead carpet. Just looking at the first thing that you see in the van is the battery box. I call that the heart of the beast. So that makes a bench as well. That's got everything I need inside there for setting up for a hookup. So on the outside you can see I've got my solar panel meters It's overcast today, so they're not charging, but that shows battery one's at 13 volts. And then if you look at the second charger again, it says it's charging, but I doubt it, but that's at 12.8 volts. So that's first thing I can see when I open the door. Tells me where my batteries are at and where my power's at. They're brilliant, these solar panels, and I've screwed them to the outside. Then very importantly, you have vents, so when those batteries do get a little bit hot, which they have done in the past, I'm hoping I've stopped all that now, then that heat can vent out. Okay, so then looking from inside the van, these are the various legs that I use for tables. I'll show you all about them shortly, but we'll stick with the battery box for now. This is my charger. So this charges both my leisure batteries. This is a Noco Genius 5, it is. So when my hookup is on, that automatically comes on and starts charging the batteries, and so far it's excellent. I did use another charger, but I'm not sure what was going wrong with that, but the batteries were getting too hot, so something was going wrong there. Not sure what it is. I haven't got a gimbal yet, by the way. That is something else I'm going to buy, because as you can see, it's all a bit shaky. That's just the knob that you can undo, and then this all drops down so you can get to the batteries if you want to that way. But better than that, let me show you, is I'm able to take the seat right off and we can see inside. Okay folks, so the seat just comes off simply like that. It's a padded seat, knocked it up myself. And inside you can see that I keep all my stock. So this is my hookup. It's all a bit messy in here. And then I've got my jump leads, an essential for a van driver. And then I've just got various bits and bobs, little projects that I'm working on at the moment. I've got a tow rope, which is a must. I've got my air compressor, a few rags, and all my different adapters for hooking up. So if we look inside, I've got my main large leisure battery. It's got a thermometer on the top of it, which links into my phone, so when I'm driving and I'm charging from the alternator, I can see whether it's getting too hot or not. As I say, it might just be me, but I've had problems with the batteries getting too hot. But I think I've cured that now. So on a transit van, the main power comes from underneath the seat. So there's a battery underneath the seat, and from the plus side of the battery I've got a red cable which comes through and it goes straight to my charging relay, which is made by MVM. So that's a charging relay, which as you're driving along, if your main battery underneath your seat needs charging, it will click and allow the current to charge that battery. Once that battery's full, it will click and it will start to charge these two in the back, and they're linked together. So once we've come from the charging relay, the split charger it's called, you can get them on the internet. I think they're about £45 each, something like that, and I bought a whole kit which was about £80, and that came with leads as well. So coming from there, I go into an isolator switch, which is important. If your batteries are getting too hot or something's not going wrong, just switch that off and that cuts everything out, and you're just charging your vehicle battery, which is all you need. So then coming from the isolator, it goes straight to my large battery, which is 120 amp hour. So which essentially means you've got 120 hours of 1 amp an hour. So you'd have to look at the rating of your different components and what they use in amps per hour, and if it was 1 amp it would last 120 hours, and then you'd need to recharge your batteries, which is really good. And then there's the smaller one, which I think is a 75 amp hour battery, but they both link together. So combine the 120 with the 175 because they're linked in series, and that gives you 195 amp hours. If you're running a fridge, that's probably your biggest consumer in a camper. My fridge will last probably 36 hours before the batteries are going down to 11 volts and need charging. So it's perfect for when you're in a hookup situation on a campsite. Not so good when you're just boondocking, they call it, just parking anywhere in the street. So you know you've got 24 hours definitely, your fridge will be okay. At 36 hours you need to think about getting a charge or going for a drive and charging everything back up again. So just to make it clear, to show you what I was talking about, that is the split charger. That's 12 volt, can handle 140 amps. So that's connected to the main battery under the seat, and it's also connected straight to the isolator. The isolator's green, so that's on, and that goes then to the 120 amp hour battery, which is also linked to the 75 amp hour battery. And then where the solar panels come in, they come in down there, and you saw them on the outside in the first video, and they all link round, and the one connects to this battery, so it's permanently charging in the summer, and the other one obviously links to that battery, and that's permanently charging only in the summer though. Then you've got the indicator lights on your leisure batteries, and that's a nice tint of green there you can see in the middle. And the same with that one, nice tint of green, and that shows you that the batteries are charging well. This is the temperature gauge. So at the moment there's 83% humidity, and it's 8 degrees. So that's fine. Then coming from those batteries, and I just linked it on the one side, is the fuse box, and that is a separate fuse for each component that's inside the van. So you've got the fan, you've got the Chinese heater, which I've called the blower, you've got the refrigerator, you've got all of the DC outlets, so they're all 12 volt USB outlets, and you've got your water pump, which comes on through the automatic tap when you're running water. So that is the main heart. Let's see if I can get you. I know it's messy, doesn't always look like this, and that is that. So what I intend to do is, if it comes today, alongside this leisure battery charger, which only works with the hookup, I'm going to have a visual display probably somewhere here, and that's going to be wired directly to that battery and to that battery just by a temperature sensor. So I'll probably, I don't know, use some sealant or just glue it to the battery, and then when I'm lying in my bed, it's easy to just lift your head, making sure everybody's safe at night while it's charging, and I can keep my eye on the temperature of the batteries. And I think once you've had a problem with a battery and it's been red hot and bubbling, it just makes you a little bit more cautious about what you're doing with these batteries, because they are very dangerous and they will go on fire if they get too hot. Okay, so I'm now sat on that bench that we were looking at, and this is my small kitchen area. I've made all these myself. They're just MDF, and then they're covered in that material just to make things look a little bit nicer. Kettle on the hook, got my coffee cups all set up. I've got a nice fan because we go to Spain, France a lot. We're hoping to go to Spain, but of course the COVID's wrecked everything. So this is my sink. Just lift that up. I've got just one burner. In my previous van I had 2 burners, but we didn't need them, so we went nice and small. And that's the tap, and when you bring the tap up, it's an electrical connection, and it starts the pump which is underneath, and you get running water. and then that water will pour into the grey waste tank, and it'll pump from the clean water tank. So let me show you underneath where that's going. So this is the cupboard underneath the sink. We've got our fridge there, which is excellent really. So that just plugs into 12 volts, and that will keep your food absolutely icy cold. It's not a freezer, it's just a fridge. It'll stop your milk going sour. In between the middle, we've got the Chinese heater. That's connected up through the van floor. It draws air from the back of it, which is inside the van, and then it blows out underneath. I've had to cut a little hole in there, and that blows inside. I've talked about the Chinese heaters before. Extremely effective. They are really, really good. Then underneath, it's going to be a bit dark in here. I haven't got another light, but the light blue one is my clean water, and the black one is obviously my grey water, they call it. They are a little bit of a faff to get out of there. If I had my chance again, I'd probably redesign that a little bit. And then you've got a gas cylinder. I can't see that, I'm hoping you can see that, but that's mounted there, and that just connects up underneath, and it's all very safe, and it works really well for us. You've then got a USB switch, because we found we needed to charge our phones while we're sat down on the bench or wherever, and that just switches on with that. I like all the blue lights. That one is purely off solar panel, so if that dips on power, you need to switch to one in the back which runs off the 12 volt batteries. That is purely off the sun, and it's usually always okay apart from in the dark. And then moving across from that, we've got another cupboard. I use these little hooks just to stop them swinging open. Obviously you've got the loo, which just pulls out easily when you need it and pushes away. Excellent, doesn't smell. Get the right fluid. Don't mess about with just putting anything. Get the proper toilet fluid. First aid kit, sink, just bits of rubbish. And we keep things on the outside because it's easier. Salt and pepper, our drinks, everything like that. This is another cupboard. That's got various bits and pieces in there. We are considering making this area our fridge because it's big enough. So we may look for a fridge that's the right size and perhaps have it come sliding out, because it's a bit of a faff getting underneath there every time you want to get something out. But we'll see how that goes. As I say, you can't design a van, an interior, and it just work fantastic straight away. It's a learning process. Things change as you use them. And then this is the bed, and this is Cat Fletcher. This is my beautiful Jackawawa. Hey Cat. And she's with us wherever we go, and she loves coming in the van. She gets underneath the duvet and she's happy, aren't you, Cat? Gorgeous. Okay, and then we've got another cupboard here. I think you might have seen a glimpse of this the other night. I've got my iPad on there, so we're obviously sitting there. Made the cupboard so it's high enough for your feet to go under when you're lying in the bed. And then this one just lifts up, and inside there you've got various space to put clothes. We tend to put both our clothes in there, and that's blanked off then, because you've then got a compartment at the end which has got all your electrical stuff in. Again, 240 volts once you're hooked up with USB ports. Then you've got the speed controller for the fan, and you've got a USB switch for charging the iPad and your phones and things. Lighting, I've gone for these off the internet. Let's show you one that's not switched on perhaps. And I've got 6 of those around the van. And then coming round, I've only got one window in the back, and I cut the hole small enough that if somebody was to smash the back window to try and get in, that's a bit of a tight squeeze to get through anyway. I did have the same on that side, but we got involved in a car accident about a month ago, and we had to have a new door, and I chose not to have the window cut into it this time because we didn't need it, and it's just another condensation trap at the end of the day. It gives you a little bit more privacy. Then this is obviously the head end of the bed. Got some little compartments, that's where we pop our phone in at night. Got a charger right by it. And then I made this handy little shelf going across, which has just got little room for little bits and pieces in. And then again on the doors, I made these little compartments. And there's one that side. And what I was thinking on this blank canvas now, I could make a shelf that drops down and have an extra table for when you're sat in the van. And Cat doesn't care as long as it's warm, isn't it, Cat? She's 6 years old. Hope you like her. We absolutely love her. Okay, so that's it for today, folks. By the way, Steve Willis, Camping with Steve, Hunker Down, fantastic website, Canadian guy, YouTube channel I should say. I keep saying website, I don't know what's the matter with me. You get tongue-tied when you're doing this. So go and have a look at that, honestly. Such a lovely guy, such warm videos, they're really, really good. So yeah, if anything arrives today in the post, we'll have a look at that. But otherwise, that's it from me, Steve the Transit Camper. I look forward to you subscribing. I think we're going to have some fun. Bye for now.